Everyone. I'd like to call to order the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO Technical Coordinating Committee meeting for today, January 24th. Happy New Year. All right. Sorry, nobody's responding, so I feel like I'm talking to myself. Kelly, oh, I have a virtual statement I need to read, don't I? Hold on one second. Today, the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO Technical Coordinating Committee will be meeting virtually, and all members will vote by a roll call. Each member will be recognized, at which time the member will state his or her vote. Kelly, I will ask that you please call the roll.
Kelly Bennett.
Here.
Jordan Payne.
Here.
Tanika's here. Pam Cook. Pam?
Yeah,
Andy Bailey's here.
can
but
you hear me?
Yes.
Here.
Yes. Thank you. Fred Hay.
Here.
Amy Crum.
Here.
Andrew Meadwell.
Here.
Amy Flight.
Here.
Chris Jensen. Chris.
I'm here. Did I unmute yet?
Stacy Tolbert.
Here.
Oh, Reed Hutchins.
Here.
Jason Hill.
Here.
Dan Porter.
Here.
Mark Kersner.
Here.
Is there any voting members that I have not mentioned? That concludes it.
Very good. Thank you, Kelly. At this time, we will, I'm sorry, you all, I'm struggling. All right. The first item on our agenda is the election of officers. We elect annually two officers, our chairman and our vice chairman. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations.
Tanique, this is Fred Hayes. I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
All right. I would like to motion that we delay the appointment of new officers until the May meeting or until a new Winston-Salem Transportation Director is identified. The reason I'm making this motion is I believe that in the interim, by doing this, we would establish some short-term stability and consistency, and would also allow the new Winston-Salem Transportation Director to establish themselves, whether by being nominated themselves or identifying other suitable individuals.
Okay, your motion has been received, Fred. I'm not sure if our MOU will allow us to do that, but
I'm not sure.
We'll see if there are other. Kelly, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure either if we can do that. And I can try to check real quickly.
Are there any other motions to be made while Kelly is looking into that?
Well, to Nick's Mark Kirshner part, if the MOU allows, I think what Fred is trying to achieve is that you continue to provide leadership for the next month or so,
Mhm.
ending your retirement. Congratulations, by the way. We'll miss you. But and then we'll have to deal with the chair and vice chair after that.
Yes.
We'll put that in the form of a motion.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. So we've received a motion that that I would remain in office as your chairman, and at a future date, you all would have another future election upon my retirement is, I guess, the intent of the motion. Mark, did I state that correctly? And Fred?
Yes.
Okay. And in case maybe there are a few of you on the call that are not aware, I have announced that I will be retiring April 1st. So in the interim, the city of Winston-Salem is seeking another director for the department. Are there any other motions or anyone that wanted to second that motion?
I will say the bylaws are silent on the matter. So I don't see why we wouldn't do what Fred suggests. Oh, it says the chairman and vice chairman shall be elected annually. Well, it does say shall be elected annually at the first regularly scheduled meeting. So it's not really silent. We're supposed to elect somebody at the first regularly scheduled meeting. Sorry.
What's it say about electing someone who the election after someone steps down? I'm saying potentially elect Sonique and then re-elect upon stepping down and at that time.
Yes. So that would be the process. It doesn't say anything about somebody steps down. So I would assume that the process would be if somebody steps down or can no longer be the chairperson, then we would have elections again then.
Right. So is there a second then to that motion? Are there any other motions?
I'd like to make another motion that we elect Tanique as the chairperson. And then when the time comes, we can do elections again.
I think that's the same thing they're trying to say, Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. So would you like to second the motion?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, it has been moved and seconded that that you all are recommending that I remain chairperson of this committee until I can no longer do so. And at that point, you all would then elect a new chairperson. Kelly, can you please call the roll for a vote?
Yes, ma'am. Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Jordan Payne,
Yes.
Tanique, can you vote for yourself?
Yes, I can.
Pam Cook,
Yes.
Fred voted yes. I voted yes. Amy Crum,
Yes.
Andrew Meadwell,
Yes.
Amy Flight,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Reed Hutchins,
Yes.
Stacy Tolbert,
Yes.
Jason Hill,
Yes.
Dan Porter,
Yes.
and Mark Kirsner.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Sorry that it was so difficult. This is a little different for us. So the other position that we need to receive nominations on would be for our vice chairperson. Are there any nominations for our vice chair?
Nominate Jeff Hensler.
Thank you, Kelly. Is there a second?
Donna Woodson, second.
Thank you, Donna. All right, we have moved and seconded that we would elect Jeff Bansler as our vice chairperson. Kelly, please call the roll for the vote.
Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Jordan Payne,
Yes.
Tanique,
Yes.
Pam Cook,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
I voted yes. Amy Crum,
Yes.
Andrew Midwell,
Yes.
Amy Flight,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Reed Hutchins,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Jason Hill,
Yes. Yes.
and Dan Porter,
Yes.
Mark Kirsner,
Yes.
and Donna voted yes. It's unanimous.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. All right, I will move on to the rest of our agenda, which is not atypical. We've got 5 action items and then a few information items for future action. So the first or the next action item is the consideration of our November 17th, 2022 TCC meeting minutes. The minutes are in your packet. Does anyone like to make a motion or any comments related to the minutes?
Move for approval.
Second, Fred Hayes.
Thank you, Fred. Was that Amy that moved for approval?
Yeah, it's Amy Crum.
Okay, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Amy. It has been moved and seconded that we would accept the minutes. Kelly, please call the roll for the vote.
Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Jordan Payne,
Yes.
Tanique,
Yes.
Pam Cook,
Yes.
Fred voted yes. I vote yes. And Amy voted yes. So Andrew Midwell,
Yes.
Amy Flight,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Reed Hutchins,
Yes.
Stacy Tolbert,
Yes.
Jason Hill,
Yes.
Dan Porter,
Yes.
Mark Kirsner.
Yes.
And Donna Woodson.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is the consideration of the fiscal year 2020 through 2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program amendments and modifications for the Winston-Salem urban area MPO. Hunter Stazak will cover this item.
Thank you, Tanique, and good afternoon, everyone. The item before you, as Tanique stated, is the consideration of the FY 2020 to 2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program amendments and modifications for the Winston-Salem urban area MPO. The MTIP is a subset of the Metropolitan Transportation Plan and reflects our planning area's projects that are programmed in the State Transportation Improvement Program. The attached items N are the updates to the STIP that have been made by NCDOT and also those made at the request of the MPO. These items were available for public review and no comments were received during that time. Happy to address any questions.
Thank you, Hunter. Are there any questions for Hunter? Would anyone like to make a motion in regards to this item?
Motion, Fred Hayes.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you. Is that Amy again?
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy. It's been moved and seconded that we would accept Item number 4, Kelly, please call the roll.
Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Jordan Payne,
Yes.
Shanique,
Yes.
Pam Cook,
Yes.
Fred Hay,
Yes.
sorry, you made the motion. I vote yes. Amy voted yes. Andrew Midwell,
Yes.
Amy Flight,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Reed Hutchins, Reed,
Yes.
Stacy Tolbert,
Yes.
Jason Hill,
Yes.
Dan Porter,
Yes.
Mark Kirshner,
Yes.
and Donna Woodson.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. Our next item is a consideration of a resolution approving letters of support for Davidson County Department of Senior Services, the Workshop of Davidson, and Life Center of Davidson County for the North Carolina Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration, Section 5310 funding. Matt Duchesne will cover this item.
Thank you, Tanique, and good afternoon, TCC. As Tanique stated, item 5 is a consideration of a resolution for letters of support for 3 transportation organizations that carry out 5310 services in rural areas outside of the Winston-Salem MPO. NCDOT's Public Transportation Division administers annually the application and selection process for Section 5310 in rural areas. The Section 5310 program provides funding to improve mobility for seniors and individuals with disabilities by removing barriers and expanding options for transportation services. The agency's reference provides services both within the metropolitan planning area as well as in rural areas of Davidson County. Only services performed within the urbanized area of the MPO are eligible for MPO funding. Therefore, these providers can apply for rural funding through the state pool. The letters of support attached acknowledge the desires to participate and seek TAC approval. Funds will be used to provide essential trips to county facilities as well as to social opportunities. If approved, the attached letters will be provided to the agencies to include in their applications to NCDOT. Happy to take any questions on this matter.
Very good, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Hi, Matt. Here to pester you with questions again. My question to you is, when I think about 5310 funds, I'm thinking about the coordinated human services or public transportation human services transportation plan. Has that been updated recently? When was the last time that was redone?
So we had our HST plan approved at the TAC in September of 2022, Alex.
Very recently then, and I should remember that then. Very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's all the only question I had for you. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
All right, are there any other questions? Would anyone like to make a motion in regard to this item?
Motion, Fred Hayes.
Donna second.
All right, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Donna. Kelly, please call the
quick.
roll for the vote. Yes. Kelly, please call the roll for the vote.
Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Jordan Payne,
Yes.
Shanique,
Yes.
Pam Cook,
Yes.
Fred voted yes. I vote yes. Amy Crum,
Yes.
Andrew Midwell,
Yes.
Amy Flight,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Reed Hutchins,
Yes.
Stacy Tolbert,
Yes.
Jason Hill,
Yes.
Scott Snow. I'm sorry, Scott's not here. Mark Kirshner.
Yes.
And Donna voted yes. Unanimous.
Very good, thank you. All right, our next item is a review of the Winston-Salem Transit Authority's 2022 updates to the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. Matt Duchesne will cover this item.
Thanks, Steve. Like Tanique said, item 6 is a consideration of WISTA's 2022 updates to the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. FTA requires public transit agencies to adopt a Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, or PTASP, per federal regulations. The PTASP describes the policy and procedural requirements that WISTA must follow to ensure a safe environment for employees, as well as riders and the public. The goal of the PTASP is to eliminate injuries, accidents, misuse, and overuse of funds through prevention of avoidable events. Local safety committees for transit agencies must meet and monitor progress to reduce hazardous conditions and meet safety targets. WISTA's updates to the PTASP include annual performance measures, as well as improvements in communications and payroll to WISTA staff. Page 7 of the PTASP notes a reduction of fixed route injuries as well as safety incidents. WISTA's system reliability also increased. System reliability is defined as the expected number of vehicle revenue miles between mechanical failures based on the performance of the agency. Additionally, demand response experienced injury and safety incident reductions, while system reliability increased. Page 11 identifies that WISTA has upgraded since last update to paperless payroll and has added text-to-all as a means to communicate to all employees with cell phones. Pages 42 and 43 discuss threat vulnerability, noting that passenger injuries reduced from 5 to 4 based on number of injuries while boarding or alighting WISTA vehicles, and injuries based upon securement issues reduced from 4 to 2. I'm happy to take any questions on this.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Matt? All right, hearing none, does anyone like to make a motion in regards to this item?
Motion, Fred Hayden.
Thank you, Fred. Is there a second?
Second, Amy Crum.
Thank you, Amy. All right, it's been motioned and seconded that we would accept item number 6. Kelly, please call the roll for the vote.
Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Jordan Payne,
Yes.
Tanique,
Yes.
Pam Cook,
Yes.
Fred Wood, yes. I vote yes. Amy Wood, yes. Andrew Meadwell,
Yes.
Amy Flight,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Reed Hutchins,
Yes.
Stacy Tolbert,
Yes.
Jason Hill,
Yes.
Dan Porter,
Yes.
Mark Kirshner, and Donna Woodson.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, thank you, everyone. All right, we have one last action item, and that's the consideration of an amendment to the Winston-Salem urban area fiscal year 2020 through 2029 MTIP to program raise grant or discretionary funding for the Long Branch Trail Extension Project, BL 0019 in Winston-Salem. Matthew Burchak will cover this item.
Thank you, Tanique, and good afternoon, everybody. As Tanique mentioned, this is an item to program raise grant funds for the Long Branch Trail Extension Project. So back in August of 22, the city learned that USDOT had selected the Long Branch Trail project, the extension project, for a $6 million raise grant award. The project is intended to extend the existing Long Branch Trail, which currently runs between the Salem Creek Greenway and Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. And this extension project will continue that trail north of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive to 25th Street. This was a project that the city had identified in its bicycle master plan, and then subsequently prepared a feasibility study to determine some of the details of the design and the implementation of that project. And the city had applied in 21 for the raise grant as well, but did not earn the award then. But in the meantime, met with USDOT staff to talk about the project and revise the application, and resubmitted in 22 and was awarded at that point. The raise grant is in addition to funds, STVGDA funds that the MPO had programmed through its 2020 call for projects. So there's $1.1 million for preliminary engineering and right-of-way for that project currently, and the raise grant will go towards the construction of the project. let's see, I think that's it. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the project or the RAISE grant.
I have a question, Matthew.
Yes.
Are we to expect monthly updates via the TCC meetings or TAC meetings? The reason I ask, this is a complicated project, a very beneficial project or worthwhile project with a lot of different subtle nuances. And I think we all could learn from this experience as opposed to waiting until after it's over, you know, looking at it sort of like a case study. I'm hoping that you could take us all along with you, take us along the journey with you as you progress through this endeavor. Is that something that can be?
I think we can arrange for that. I think we could certainly add it to our project update spreadsheet, and then call this out and provide a status update on what we've been working on to move it along.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good question. Any other questions for Matthew? Hearing none, would anyone like to make a motion as it regards to this project?
Motion, Fred Hayes.
Thank you, Fred. Is there a second?
Second. Go ahead, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. All right, it has been moved and seconded that we would approve this project. Kelly, please call the roll.
Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Jordan Payne,
Yes.
Tanique,
Yes.
Pam Cook,
Yes.
Fred Hay voted yes, and I voted yes. Amy voted yes. Andrew Meadwell,
Yes.
Amy Flight,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Reed Hutchins,
Yes.
Stacy Tolbert,
Yes.
Jason Hill,
Yes.
Dan Porter,
Yes.
Mark Kirshner.
Yeah.
And Donna Woodson.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, very good. Thank you. Okay, we've got 5 information items for future action. So we'll start with the review of a checklist certifying the Winston-Salem urban area MPO's transportation planning process for fiscal year 2023 through 2024. Matthew Bartek will cover this item.
Great. Thank you, Tanique. Yes, that time of year where we need to, our MPO needs to certify that we're conducting our planning efforts in accordance with all applicable federal provisions. So like all MPOs, ours is required by FHWA, the Federal Highway Administration, and the Federal Transit Administration to go through this self-certification process each year. To help us with that, NCDOT provides a checklist, which is attached to this item. Our MPO staff reviewed that checklist and provided answers to the questions in that checklist. And we believe we are addressing the major issues of our urban area and performing our planning duties in accordance with all applicable laws. This annual self-certification is in addition to the 4-year certification that the MPO is required to go through, and the last one being in the fall of 2020. So you'll see the items, the checklist attached to this. You're welcome to review those questions and take a look at the responses that we have provided. In the meantime, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Matthew. Are there any questions for Matthew? All right, hearing none, we will go on to the next item, which is a review of the draft fiscal year 2023 through 2024 UPWP for the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO. Matthew will also cover this item.
Thank you again, Tanique. This is another one of those annual items that we take care of at the beginning of the year. The UPWP, the Unified Planning Work Program, is basically our MPO's plan for planning for the fiscal year. It's a requirement from FHWA and FTA to demonstrate what our intentions are for planning for the year. It identifies the transportation planning projects that we'll work on, as well as the work tasks that staff will undertake. In addition to those work tasks and the projects, it also identifies the federal planning funds that we'll use to take care of those tasks, and it identifies the local funding matches that are required. There are 4 basic components to the UPWP: the funding sources, the narrative tasks, the FTA Section 5303 transit planning funding allocation, and the 5-year planning calendar for the MPO. Earlier in the month, we shared a draft version of this UPWP with NCDOT, and in March, we'll share the final version that is adopted by the TAC. It's currently going through a 30-day public review comment period, and we will share those comments at the March 16th meeting when we will ask for adoption of the UPWP. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Matthew. Are there any questions for Matthew?
Yes, ma'am, I've got one.
All right, Alex.
I'm curious to know in particular, because I'm on a transit fixation today, apparently. And I'm sure Mr. Duchesne could probably answer this question. I'm curious to know, and I've been asking all of my MPOs, you guys are not special in this question, but what are you guys planning on doing specifically with the 5303 funding? I'm looking at the table, but I'm kind of curious to know, the intention behind the FTA funding and its application with the work that you guys are doing.
I'll take that.
All right.
Our 5303 funding funds all the activities that Matt Duchesne, specifically in our staff, does as it pertains to transit, and also any transit-related activities that we participate in, trainings and the sort for the NPO.
Okay, sounds good. That's really all I had. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Alex. Good questions. Are there any other questions?
Tanique, this is Mark Person with Park.
Hey, Mark.
I know both Matthew, you know this, but I just wanted to point out that there are a couple items related to our modeling program, projects that we are nailing down the final pieces to that. We'll get you that information probably here this week. May change some of your numbers a little bit, but just want to make everyone aware that there are these modeling activities going on related to calibration and validation of the new model that we're just starting to work on, as well as completing the household travel survey, which is going to probably flip over to the next week. That's all.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for pointing that out.
I had another question. I'm sorry.
Sure. No, you're good. Go ahead.
I just remembered that with the new transportation bill, MPOs are supposed to set aside that 2.5% of their funding. I think it's just colloquially being used as like safe streets or complete streets. Is that accounted for in here, that new requirement?
Yes, it's if you look at the table for the PWP, it's under the column named Safe and Accountable Transportation, and it's under regional planning, and that was at the direction of Daryl Vreeland.
Well, I'm sure he knows what he's doing, so thank you.
Very good. Thanks for that, Alex and Mark. Are there any other questions? Very good. Good to see that you all are looking at the item and coming up with some questions about them. So let's see. Our next item then will be the review of the fiscal year 2020 through 2029 MTIP amendments and modifications for the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO. Hunter Stazak will cover this item.
Thanks, Tanique, and good afternoon again, everybody. The item before you is the review of the fiscal year 2020 to 2029 MTIP amendments and modifications for our MPO. The MTIP, once again, is a subset of the Metropolitan Transportation Plan and reflects our planning areas projects that are programmed in the STIP or State Transportation Improvement Program. The attached items N are the updates to the STIP that have been made by NCDOT, as well as those submitted at the request of the MPO. This was available for public review, and during that time, no comments were received. This also continues to be out for public review and is available in our most recent packet. Happy to address any questions at this time.
All right, any questions for Hunter? Very good. Then we will move on to our next item, which is a review of the fiscal year 2024 congestion mitigation and air quality improvement program and fiscal year 2022 carbon reduction program projects for the Winston-Salem urban area MPO. Hunter Stazak will cover this item as well.
Thank you, Tanique. The item before you here is the review of the FY 2024 CMAQ and FY 2022 CRP projects for the Winston-Salem urban area MPO. From October 31st through November 30th, 2022, the Winston-Salem urban area MPO held a call for projects requesting proposals from municipalities for projects that will reduce on-road sources of emissions. Between the CMAQ and CRP programs, around $2.75 million was available for allocation to projects that reduce emissions. During that time, the Winston-Salem urban area MPO received 5 projects totaling $3.4 million in total requests. This included the City of Winston-Salem's Cloverdale Avenue Pedestrian Improvement Project, the Town of Louisville's Shallowford Road Sidewalk Project, Town of Walberg's NC 109 Turn Lane and Signal Project, and the Village of Clements EV and equipment purchase, as well as the Village of Clements stoplight installation at the intersection of Louisville Clements Road and Holder Road. To make the recommendation, staff selected the projects that resulted in the highest daily emissions reduction totals as determined by the Forsyth County Office of Environmental Assistance and Protection's evaluations, while also balancing meeting the needs of the most applicants possible. However, staff want to note that the recommendations as shown below in the item will change due to communication yesterday from the City of Winston-Salem that it will be withdrawing the Cloverdale Avenue pedestrian improvement project from consideration due to bids for a different phase of the project far exceeding original estimates. As a result, staff will prepare a revised item that will recommend funding for projects ranked 2 through 5 below, meaning that the Town of Walberg's project will move to full funding status, and the Village of Clements stoplight project at the intersection of Louisville Clements and Holder Road, which was originally not recommended for funding, to full funding as well. Enclosed in the documents are the applications, emissions evaluations, and project map for your perusal. As a side note, staff will be reaching out shortly to a number of folks on the technical coordinating committee to review future calls for projects under CMAQ and CRP to potentially revise criteria in future calls for projects. On that note, I'm happy to answer any questions at this time. Thank you.
All right, very well. You went over quite a bit there. Are there any questions for Hunter? All right, hearing none, then we will go to our last information item for future consideration, which would be the review of targets for safety performance measures established by NCDOT and amending the 2045 MTP. Hunter?
All right, the item before you today is the review of targets for performance measures or safety performance measures established by the North Carolina Department of Transportation and amending the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Per the FHWA's Highway Safety Improvement Program final rule, NCDOT must coordinate with MPOs of the state to adopt the state's targets and plan, NCDOT must coordinate with the MPOs of the state to establish safety targets. Every year, by February 27th, MPOs must adopt their own targets or agree to adopt the state's targets and plan and program projects in support of those targets. Historically, the Winston-Salem urban area MPO has opted to adopt the state's targets and plan and program projects in support of those targets. This year, we will do the same, and the state identified a 19.57% reduction in fatalities, a 20.95% reduction in the fatality rate, 30.19% reduction in serious injuries, 31.75% reduction in the serious injury rate, and a reduction in total non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries reduction of 26.52%. These reductions are for the 5-year averages for 2019 through 2023, as compared to those in 2017 to 2021. The reductions represent the state's goal of getting to 50% fatalities and injuries by 2035 and 0 fatalities and injuries by 2050. This item is known to receive many questions, so we have prepared a frequently asked questions document in the attached that explains the targets, past performance, and other items of interest in the attached. NCDOT representatives will also be here at the February 16th meeting of the TAC to further address any questions that you may have. But in the meantime, I'm happy to address any questions that you might have on the item.
Very good. Hunter, are there any questions for Hunter? Okay, hearing none, then we will go to our staff reports. And we will start with NCDOT Division 9. Fred.
Thank you. My report speaks for itself. The highlighted sections, highlighted in yellow, are changes from the previous report. Keep in mind that this is a living document, so I encourage everyone, if you have questions, to reach out to the project administrator. If you cannot reach the project administrator, you can reach out to myself through NPO staff. You can reach out to Mr. Philip Craver, our corridor development engineer. We'll get you the answer that you desire. And as just a helpful sort of nod to staff, if you ever speak to your elected officials and they have a concern about a particular project, as always, please give us a heads up so we can gather the information and provide timely responses. But that really hasn't been a problem for this NPO or any of the others, so I don't expect things to change going forward. Just a simple review or a soft review of what the report is all about and what the intention is. Just trying to get information out to people. Any questions?
All right, any questions for Fred? Thank you for that, Fred. Hearing that, okay, the Winston-Salem Urban Area NPO Transportation Project update. Kelly?
Nothing at this meeting.
Okay. NCDOT Transportation Planning update. Pam's not on this call, is she?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, Pam.
Sorry, my voice on the days I telework, it seems to not be very strong. I don't get to talk much, I guess. Anyway, the newsletter there, I'm not going to read through the items, but I just will encourage you to go through it. Mark's mentioned the household travel survey. I wanted to make sure y'all knew about the model survey and the link so that you could check on information throughout whenever. And then the following pages have a lot of information that Alex may touch on from the Integrated Mobility Division and NCDOT. He shared with me, so I put them in written format for y'all. For the Safe Routes to School grant program, it's now open. There's a deadline of February 6th. There's a multimodal planning grants. They'll be coming out. You'll get more information soon on that. There is the link. The North Carolina Transportation Summit has occurred, but if you go to that website, they'll be posting. If you didn't get to go, they should be posting recordings of the sessions. So keep checking that site and you can hear some of the sessions if you were interested. There's also the North Carolina Traffic Safety Grant application period through the end of this month. I continue to reiterate, Hunter does a great job too. It's 2023 is the North Carolina Year of the Trail. My husband and I celebrated the start of it January 2nd by coming to Winston-Salem and biking on y'all's greenways. Give me a chance to see those. And so encourage people to get out. I'm sure y'all are planning events to celebrate this Year of the Trail, and hopefully we can keep this momentum going in North Carolina. The other is just some driving tips in winter weather that DOT provided. And there's some tips to improve your DMV experience. A lot of this information may not be for you, but you may have constituents or just citizens that would be good to pass it on to. The Real ID deadline has been moved to May 7th of 2025. That's under the DMV plan. The North Carolina Clean Transportation Plan, there's the link to that for you to watch the sessions. They've held 3 sessions to this point. And so you can go back and review those information sessions on that. The Bicycle Helmet Initiative. And then one that came out after the newsletter was already sent to Kelly. It is NCDOT's call for state planning and research, the SPR funding projects. So there's a deadline of February 24th to that. Kelly has more information on that. She received the email from Jamal. So I just wanted to let you know about that. Let me know if you ever have any questions or if I can help in any way.
Thank you, Pam. Does anyone have any questions for Pam? All right, then we will go to NCDOT Integrated Mobility Division. Alex?
I don't have any cool newsletter to give you guys, so it's all going to be verbal. Sorry. Thank you very much, Alex Ronberry, Integrated Mobility. Pam talked about some of the cool stuff we're working on. I'll add a little bit to that and then talk about a few more things that are coming up. First things first is the multimodal planning grants. So this is a thing that's been going on originally through the Bike Ped division of NCDOT. And now that they and public transportation merged into integrated mobility, that's something that we're now taking on. And so I've been doing it for almost 20 years now. This is a initiative that the DOT does to help out particularly smaller communities in getting kind of multimodal plans in place for themselves. So they can be a pedestrian plan, it could be a bicycle plan, or it could be a combination of the two. We anticipate that the 2024 call for these will start soon. I was told end of January, early February. So we're at the end of January and I haven't heard anything else. So I think we can probably safely say that that's probably no earlier than early February at this point. We anticipate that as being a 2-month window of opportunity. Let me think. The match is dependent on the population size of the community that applies. So actually, the smaller the community, the less match is required. So very small communities may only pay 10% match, and it goes upward from there. And so if your community would like to have one of those for planning purposes, for STBG, or for TAP or CMAQ funds in the future, then this is certainly a relatively inexpensive way to get that plan in place. We do strongly encourage the MPOs to be involved, so they would be aware of this project and involved in the project, as well as the divisional office of NCDOT. And so certainly if you're interested, you can certainly reach out to me. We plan to have a informational webinar about it for interested communities. And if you already have one of these, it's just a little bit old, that's another reason that you may want to apply. So if a plan is 5 years of age or older, that might be a good time to apply for this program. We've got 2 programs that are kind of geared towards transit agencies. One is a micromobility feasibility study that we're going to be kicking off soon. Last I heard, it was going to be late January, early February. Again, actually, the next 2 things, this one and the next thing, all have the same deadlines-ish. So this the micro transit feasibility study is going to be geared towards transit agencies only. Although if you are a municipality that runs the transit agency within your boundaries, then you may too apply. Not much else to say about this, except that this is using state transit dollars, and so there will be no match required. So if your transit agency is interested in getting involved with that or applying for that, then they are welcome to. We also have another one called Access to Transit, which is another opportunity for transit agencies that should open up all around. All of these are supposed to open up around the same time, as I understand it. So I'll notify the MPO as soon as I'm aware of any definitive dates. And please consider applying if you're eligible and interested. Pam mentioned the helmets initiative. And that's something that's really popular. Last year we had a record breaking. We gave away 20,000 children's bicycle helmets throughout the state of North Carolina. And we hope to surpass that in this year. So you do not have to be a governmental agency to apply. I think you can partner with one if you'd like. I went ahead and put the direct link to that program plus the Safe Routes to School non-infrastructure program in the chat box. So if you're interested, please click and please think about applying. The deadline's coming up very soon. The bicycle helmet one is the 3rd, and the Safe Routes to School non-infrastructure is the 6th. So very soon, but there's still time if you at all are interested in something like that. The bike helmets come in increments of 25 up to 100. And they're just really great, especially if you're doing outreach events. I think a lot of police departments apply for these for like National Night Out or other organizations. So other nonprofits, they apply for these and use them to reach out to different communities and encourage bicycling in them. So definitely do that if you can. And Safe Routes to School already mentioned. So I don't recall who all applied for our trail feasibility studies. That call closed earlier this month. We actually, as reviewers, we had to submit those, and they'll be going to the February Board of Transportation. So we had over 60 different applications throughout the state, many in my Western Piedmont region. So go team. And so I think there were a lot of really worthy and eligible things, and clearly the demand is there. So as of now, this is a one-time opportunity, but I think we're certainly going to hope to get funding for the future for this program. So if you didn't get it this time or you didn't apply, maybe next time will be your year. So hopefully we can continue that. And then I think that's it, actually. I think I'll stop there. I felt like I've prolonged the meeting long enough. Thank you all very much. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
All right, thank you, Alex. Are there any questions for Alex? All right, hearing none, then we will go on. Is there an FHWA update? I did not see Suzette on the call.
This is Joe Geigley. I'm
Hey,
filling
Joe.
in for Suzette today. The only item I have is the U.S. Census Bureau has released their urbanized area maps, and I believe Pam has a link in her newsletter to those maps. And what I would say is that those maps are the basis for the MPO planning boundaries, and those will need to be updated. I believe the language is either within 4 years of the release of those of the urbanized area, or at the next update of your MTP, whichever comes first. Right now, don't have any additional guidance. However, we do have an internal meeting set up by our headquarters to discuss the census and its information. I believe it's on February 8th. So hopefully after that, we will have some additional information to share with you.
Very good. Thank you, Joe. Are there any questions for Joe? All right. We will go on to the Piedmont Triad Regional Council of Governments update. No one here for that. All right. Okay. Forsyth County OEAP Air Quality update. Is Carrie here?
I'm actually here. Jordan's here.
Hi, Jordan.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't really have too much to add other than what's already in the packet. I just want to say that we are in the middle of doing some annual maintenance on our monitoring equipment. So we're hopefully going to get that out and deployed before ozone season starts on March 1st. And then we're also trying to update our forecasting webpage and bring it up to the more of a modern, design or look, and, be a little bit more transparent about with our data and what we do. So hopefully we'll get that out soon this spring and hopefully show you guys. That's all.
Thank you, Jordan. Are there any questions for Jordan? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Facilities Projects update. Matthew Burchett.
Thanks, Danique. Pam and Alex mentioned the helmet initiative and the Safe Routes to School non-infrastructure grants. I won't pile on there, except to note that City of Winston-Salem has received helmets through that initiative in the past, and actually is managing a non-infrastructure grant project right now. So if any communities have questions about those opportunities, feel free to reach out about that. The other thing I would share is that February 2nd, next week, Thursday, the City of Winston-Salem is hosting a public input meeting for the Salem Creek Greenway extension. We're working on a feasibility study to extend Salem Creek Greenway from its current terminus at Marketplace Mall on Peters Creek Parkway to Forsyth Tech Community College near the Ardmore neighborhood. And I mentioned that because Salem Creek Greenway is generally a regional draw for greenways, and I think there might be a lot of interest MPO wide for that. So we can send out additional information about that meeting as well, but that's about it.
Very good. Any questions for Matthew?
Hey, Matthew,
Yes.
sorry, I tried to access, I guess, the link for that I guess you have an ArcGIS link, and when I tried to click on some of the maps, I wasn't available to look at them. So I don't know if somebody might need to go back and look at that.
Thank you for the heads up. We'll take a look at it right after the meeting.
Thank you for that, Jordan. Any other questions for Matthew?
I have one as well. Matthew, I just was curious. I saw your PowerPoint presentation, thanks to Hunter passing along to me, regarding the micromobility updates that the city is up to. Is there any updates on that, or is it still kind of getting ready to go and nothing really to report yet?
As far as the ordinance update goes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're waiting for some guidance on basically which of those sections of the ordinance to update. So I would imagine over the next 3 months or so, we'll have that guidance and we'll begin working on those updates.
Okay. I think I'm particularly interested because our innovations and data team is going to be doing a project on micromobility. So I think I might put you in contact with them, if that's okay with you, because I think they would certainly be interested in perhaps using you all as a case study or something like that, since you're revisiting and working on this kind of they're coinciding. So
sure, yeah, that would be fine.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
All right, very good. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the Winston-Salem Transit Authority update. Donna?
Good afternoon. I don't have anything to add to the staff report that's in the packet.
All right, any questions for Donna? Okay, thank you, Donna. Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation update. Mike?
Yes, have a couple things. First of all, to Alec, you apologize too much for all your great questions and things, but I do want to remind you, I have to listen to you about 3 times in the past 2 weeks. So it is a lot. It is a lot. Said with all joking fairness. Secondly, our regional travel demand model is gearing up to do a new base year update for 2022. Many of you have been involved with this as part of the Community Viz project. This is now being referred to as a scenario planning and growth allocation project. And this and other activities for the MPO will be starting in earnest this next month. This new process that we're using to develop the socioeconomic data is extremely important. The socioeconomic data is one of the key elements that informs the regional travel demand model. And this process is going to put some of those decisions in every jurisdiction's hand. So please pay attention to notes that you might get from Kelly or Matthew about being involved as well as from us. And there'll be some key things that will be going on with that. I have good news to report related to that project. We had promised to do some scenario planning training for the MPOs and all of the jurisdictions. And I'm pleased to say that we got approval by FHWA from their capacity building team to be part of that scenario planning training. I've also secured Michelle Nance, who was with the Central INACOG, here in North Carolina. They do a lot of scenario planning and also use community biz. And then I've gotten Todd Littman, who is with the Victoria Transportation Policy Institute, to join us in on that training as well. So as we find a date here in the next month and a half, hopefully, we'll certainly let everyone know. And I think this will be a great learning opportunity for everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Are there any questions for Mark? All right, then we will move with Davidson County Transportation. I didn't think Richard was on this call. He's not. There is a report in our packet for Davidson County. Our Title VI compliance update. Marlene?
Good afternoon, everyone. There's nothing to report.
All right, very well. Our MPO calendar of activities. Matthew?
Thanks, Sneak. And we mentioned some of the items on here already. I think the one thing to note for everybody on this call is the anticipated P7 submittal window. So NCDOT's prioritization 7.0 submittal window, summer of 2023. In preparation for that, our MPO staff will be contacting you within the next 2 to 3 weeks about our MPO call for projects to prepare our project list that we would submit through P7. So just a heads up on that, maybe start to think about those projects and which you would be submitting, and start to review past submittals, and just refamiliarize yourself with the prioritization process. But we'll be in touch soon about that.
Thank you, Matthew.
All right. Any questions for Matthew? I heard a thank you from Philip. All right, Kelly, ethics liaison.
It is ethics season, everybody. So please help me by reminding your elected official to submit their ethics form. If they are a newly appointed members, they should have already received an email from me about filling out their ethics form. They are due by the end of the month for newly appointed members. But for our existing members, they have till tax day, or really April 17th, to submit their ethics forms. I will be sending an email out after this meeting to remind everybody about that. So that's all.
All right, any questions for Kelly? Then our quarterly Moving Times magazine, Hunter.
Thanks, Danique. You may have noticed it did not make it in time for the January 2023 TAC packet, but I believe most of you are on my email list for the Moving Times, so hopefully you received it. If not, it is available up on our website. But as Pam said, happy year of the trail to everyone. We wanted to highlight some of the great opportunities in our urban area for you to participate in that are currently constructed, and then give us an overview, give the public an overview of all the great projects and studies that are underway that'll make the trail system in the future even better. As always, thanks to everyone who contributes to this. You make it a lot of fun to write. Specifically, I want to shout out PART and Davidson County Transportation System for giving me great content to work with. And particularly for this issue, Pam Cook over at NCDOT TPD sent me several potential articles to write. So that was a great help. I know everyone is busy, but sometimes it's nice to take a break during the day. So I hope that you'll take the time to answer the transportation trivia question, as well as take part in a new addition to the magazine, which is the MPO puzzle. So if you like crossword puzzles, this is the issue for you. And as always, thank you.
Very good. Great job that you're doing with that, Hunter. Are there any questions for Hunter? All right, hearing none, then I guess we're at the highlight of the meeting, which is our next meeting is scheduled for February 16th. And would anyone like to move adjournment? So moved.
So moved.
All right, I will move in second. We are adjourned. Everyone have a great day and week, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.